So let me tell you what's going on today. I'm gonna be on my way to a place where they kind of like tune your turbo to go higher on the PSI. Hopefully if the guy's cool, he could let me record him and then he could kind of explain to you guys a little bit more in detail, like what he's gonna do to my car specifically, like how he's gonna do it or what he's gonna use. So I was kind of explaining to them like I was gonna come over here and you were gonna do this to my car. So if you kind of want to go into more depth and detail for them.
Sure. So it's like any other tuning box. It's a PiggyBack box, and we're gonna unplug a few pressure sensors, 2 specifically on this car, and this is gonna intercept them. And at the right times, it's just gonna tweak the pressure sensor signal a little bit. That goes to the DME, and the DME is gonna compensate for that by first of all increasing boost, but it also runs closed loop, because almost every single car with a turbocharger now has a wideband O2 sensor. So even as you floor it, the DME is still gonna put in the right amount of fuel and also adjust the timing accordingly. So that's more or less the PiggyBack box. It's gonna go in here. It has a Bluetooth antenna, so you can watch the boost pressure with it, and you can also adjust it if you want more power.
So you could download the app, right? So you download the app,
right? And then yeah, right. It's set by default to add a 2 psi boost pressure. I recommend you don't really go more than 3. The app allows for 4, but really anything more than that, you're just going to spin your turbo faster, and you're going to make more heat, and the ECU is going to pull timing, and whatever you gain in boost pressure, you're just going to lose just in heat and loss of timing, and it doesn't really make sense to add more than 2 or 3 psi unless you have other mods to support. You know.
Yeah, of course.
It's important if you're installing this on an N20 or S55 or even N55, because the plugs are identical. So the shorter one, you want to be sure that the shorter plug goes on the manifold pressure sensor and not the longer of the 2 branches. So to install it, I don't know if you want to close in, it's also important you don't lose this clip. A lot of times it's better to just put a screwdriver in and just slightly twist it with your thumb on the back so it doesn't go flying. And you just unplug that. Plug in this guy. Wait till there's a click, and then one more time click. And then what used to go on the pressure sensor now goes in our new harness, and lock that in. Like that. Put that away. Next one. There's one more down here. I personally push down with one hand just to make myself I can see it, and then with my finger I lift the clip with the other finger and it should just come right off. What used to go in the car goes in our PiggyBack harness till a nice click like that, and this goes right in there. Click and lock. Cool. Ideally, we'd get some zip ties, but before we do that, we should just kind of start and ignition on.
So you just want me to turn on the ignition?
You got your phone on you?
Yeah.
Go ahead and open up the app again.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave this here for now before we close the hood.
Okay.
Let's see. You can't really see. Connect, and let's go ahead. You got the key on you, right? I'm just gonna kind of stick my hand in here. Right now it's reading 0 psi because we're just at ambient boost pressure. If we go in here, you can kind of see the curve that it's applying. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do some kind of custom tune, you can either plus or minus, you can reduce boost to almost nothing, or you can add as much as 4 psi.
So right now, stock it's at 2?
It's at 2, yeah.
Okay.
By stock, out of the box, it's at 2 psi.
Okay.
So what that means is it's going to start kicking in at around 11 psi. So if you drive normally, you're not really going to feel anything. If you floor it, your boost goes over 11 psi, it's going to start trickling it in, and by the time, at a slope of 2 to 1, half, and until it gets to 2 psi, and then it's just going to hold a 2 psi bias all the way to the top.
Okay.
So when you drive around normally, you shouldn't really lose any fuel economy because it's just running as it usually would.
Got it.
And then when you floor it.
So let's say like so you know how it's at 2 right now, 2 psi?
Yeah.
So if I put it at 3 or 2.5,
correct, yeah.
Do I just leave it like that?
Well,
and then
so to do it, correct, right. Thank you for asking. So to do that, for example, if I set it to 2.6 and if I push send, the device has a memory and it'll remember, and from now on it'll always run 2.6 until you turn it
until I
back
change
down.
it. Okay.
If you,
So I have to click send.
correct. If you have a flash tune and you just want to measure boost pressure, or if you want to just baseline your car without really modifying anything, you can also turn this switch off. And what that means is the device is still there, it's just not going to do anything. It's just going to pass the signal through.
Okay.
So the car is going to run entirely stock. So if you were to, say, measure your performance before, you could, or, you know, measure your performance as if the tune wasn't there, you could put that in stock, go look at the boost pressure trace, maybe take a few screenshots or something, activate it, put the power default 2 psi on, do another drive, look at boost pressure, and you can see it's working.
Got it. Okay.
Then you can go to 3 psi, see if it still adds boost pressure. You can go to 4 psi, see if it still works. Just because you ask for 4 psi doesn't mean
It's not gonna get. Okay, got it.
So you kind of find your threshold and just walk back a little bit and you leave it there.
Got it. Okay. So I see numbers going. So that's
Yeah. So negative is vacuum because you're idling. You know, you have so it's pulling some vacuum because you're idling. So
Got it,
before that number's going to go to positive. My fastest 40 to 60 was in 2.29 seconds. My fastest 20 to 40 was 1.9 seconds. Oh, and if I keep zooming in, I'll see a fastest 0 to 60 in there somewhere. So
there you go.
showing my fastest 6.98 seconds. So it uses the accelerometer and the GPS because the GPS is only once a second. So we use the accelerometer in between the GPS points to really find.
Okay.
So yeah, that's gonna follow in the iOS app in a month or two.
all right, guys. I tried understanding like everything he was telling me, but pretty much from what I understood is I could control whatever I need to do through the app, and I could increase the boost when the boost hits. Like I could adjust if it wants to hit sooner. But my camera's gonna die, so let me just quickly do this test run. I think I could hear it more. Like, I don't know if the camera could pick it up, but I know I could hear like the turbo sound. This is the next day of me owning it, and you feel the difference. Like it's very little, but you could feel it. And then the turbo does kick in a little bit sooner. And here, let me show you the app really quick. So that's how it looks like. Obviously, when every time I step on the gas, the green letters go up like that, and it basically just measures my PSI. I don't know if it'll focus, but my peak was 18.44, and then again, if I step on it, you're gonna see it go up. The response of the turbo is a lot quicker as well too. You can set it if you want it to wake up quicker, but I'm not gonna do that because I like the way it is right now. Alright guys, so it got kind of dark, but anyways, so if I click custom right here, or if I swipe it, you kind of see the difference from the stock, from the presets that it comes with. So over here I changed it to 8, I left this at 2, and I believe the slope, I think it was 0.6, 0.7 on the presets. So I could add more if I want to, but I'm not gonna mess with that just yet because I still want to feel this out, see how it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then if you go back here, there's also the Max Eco Hybrid, which again, I don't know what they do just yet, but other than that, I mean, I like it so far.